Hey everybody, just doing a quick Satisfactory video showing off my new automated train line. This one's called Night Train because it gets dark, the sun sets as we're in the train, and it's kind of hard to see for a few minutes, but that's okay. And it also reminds me of that old fortified wine that I wonder if you can still get it. Night Train and Mad Dog. But anyway, this is not my fortified wine review channel. Maybe I'll start one of those later. This is checking out early access Satisfactory. So I'm actually not even playing. My character is seated in the conductor seat, but this is all automated. The train loads itself, unloads itself, and right now what I've been doing is I realized that I had packaged fuel, but too much of it because I was using it for my jetpack. I needed to have, it readily available, but the machines were I had more than I knew what to do with. So these trains can actually carry fluid or dry freight. And so I could have just hooked it up to the fuel line directly and used a fluid freight container, but instead I had all this packaged fuel. So I just did a dry freight. And then what we do, we're going to get to this point B deep in the desert, and this is the night train part. And once we're out deep in the desert, we are going to have this freight unloaded and then have it taken out of the packages. And you can see it's automatically braking now. So we're going to take it out of the packages. That's that building that we're passing right there. And then that kind of big round building off to the far right that we can't see anymore is where we hold the liquid fuel. And then we're going to set up a fuel generator. And that's going to be connected to our whole power grid. So we're going to have more power grid. You can see the freight's being offloaded now. We're trying to build up this area of the desert. It's very remote, and it has some cool things nearby. It's very, it's hard to get to without a train line, so we're kind of building this area up, and part of that is we're going to get the electrical grid in this area stronger. So now we have a source of fuel. The train goes without me because it's on an automatic schedule, and we say goodbye to the train. You can see on my indicator up in the top that the location is always marked, so if it gets stuck somewhere or something. And then this is where I realized that I had forgotten one thing, which is that this fuel packager needs somewhere to put the empty canisters. Empty canisters in this are actually pretty interesting because it is like a source of, if you're good at recycling, if you're efficient, then it's great. You can reuse it. And but I am kind of haphazard, and so for me it is kind of a troublesome trash source, and I think that's actually really cool. Similar games like Factorio don't really have that, where you're kind of rewarded for recycling efficiently, and you're kind of punished if you don't want to do that. There'll be buildup of these canisters until I either trash them or figure out something to do with them, and obviously figuring out something is more efficient. So there we go. Now that the canisters are being at least stored, there's somewhere to put them at least. The fuel is now filling that canister. Oh, I get attacked, so we're going to see a little bit of combat here. And I do better narration when I'm watching the video afterwards. I recorded 3 times. I tried to bring you guys a narrated Satisfactory video, and each time I messed up. I used the Xbox game bar, messed it up. I used OBS, and I messed that up twice. So this time I just gave up, and I was like, I want to show off my factory. I'm going to just take the video and then record over it separately. And I feel like I have my play-by-play, my commentary is better too, so maybe there's a lesson in that. It's a little bit extra work, and maybe I'm not cut out for live streaming yet, but being able to kind of reflect on it and know what's going to happen in the video, I think gives me a little bit more to talk about. So here we go. Now the fuel generator is built. It is connected to our power line, and then we're struggling a little bit to get this. You can see it says no power. That's my whole factory's power production, and it's not contributing yet because the fuel is not making it up that hill quite yet. And I've praised it in my other failed videos, but the the fluid dynamics in Satisfactory are really cool, and that's one of the things I would say it has over games like Factorio, which, forgive me if this is wrong, I think Factorio came before it, and is top-down 2D, like, you know, bird's eye view, you're looking at down at the map. And so fluid pipelines, you don't have to worry about like gravity or, you know, about fluid pressure, but you do have to in Satisfactory. And that's actually really cool because you have to figure out the puzzles. So this is me kind of seeing if it's going to work itself out. It does eventually. I kind of fiddle with, you know, you have to pump it, kind of build extra things to pump it up hills. And this is me kind of deciding if I'm going to have to. I go in and I start to try to build that. I don't have what I need because I didn't anticipate having to build that. And like I said, this is like the desert outpost. This is way far away from the rest of my factory. So if I don't have something, I have to go build it. And I do. Actually, I take a minute to clear these little bumblebees because those guys, they will ambush you if you're not careful and can be very troublesome. So now we're going to go, I guess we're going to check again, but now we're going to go and build that pump, and then we're not going to need it actually because, you know, this thing I'm watching where the fuel eventually kind of siphons properly, there's enough in that big bulbous container for the pressure to kind of just push it over up that hill, and there's no problem. And that pressure should be maintained because the fluid canisters are still being processed, so we end up not putting a pump on that. But that's what I'm doing now, is I'm going to build one just in case it's faster. And yeah, we'll have to think about how to recycle those those empty canisters. Maybe I can get, you know what I should do? Okay, this is a note to myself. I'm gonna get like a second fluid freight train on my train. I guess a second fluid car on my train. And pump water or something useful into that, and then use the empty canisters, repackage them with water or something, and bring it back to my factory? I don't know, that might not be that efficient. I'll have to think about it. Maybe I should get a third train stop going or something, where there's no water or something, and I mean, that would be most efficient. I might have just held my headphone up to the microphone, so if you heard a manic laugh, that was one of my favorite, favorite's a strong word, but that's a live streamer I'm aware of, and like to keep track of. And now you can see my consumption is completely below my capacity and my production. And that's good, because that means that we're producing more. The new fluid generator is online. As you can see, I didn't have to add that pump, because now it's siphoning properly. And yeah, so that's all going to batteries. And I think I'm going to take a minute here to add a couple more batteries. Those things on the left are battery piles. I think you can call it a pile. But, so you see, I pop one more in, add it to the grid, and then those are charging. And we always want it to be charging. It's at 76% because I just added a whole bunch of new batteries. So those are charging up, but we're doing good right now and producing more energy than we need. If you run out of energy and the batteries don't kick on or they're dead, your factory will grind to a halt and be very difficult to restart. Honestly, I'm afraid of that happening, so I've been very careful about it. That's another cool thing that's different than Factorio. Factorio, you can usually always jumpstart your factory pretty easily, but in this case, it is kind of a struggle. And especially with more and more stuff, it kind of grinds to a halt, and you have to jumpstart it with like a lot of biofuel, which I'm not sure that I'm prepared to do. So we're just being real careful with batteries and just saving up. And I think that's just about everything. Thanks for listening. Yeah, this goes way better when I do the audio separately. And thanks for watching. I'll see ya. I need a sign off. Note to self. Better sign off.